Hey everyone, this is Chef, and in this video, we're going to talk about everything you need to know to play Support Chronomancer for the first time in a World vs. World group. This includes basic profession mechanics, build options, synergies, rotations and skill combos, and your role in an organized squad. Each of these sections is timestamped, so if you'd like to skip around the video to the parts that you want to see, go right ahead. Chronomancer has gone through a number of build changes within the last year or two, and has good build versatility and overall squad utility for World vs. World groups. The profession lacks the defensive boon access, stun breaks, and damage mitigation ability of primary supports like Firebrand, and also lacks the raw cleansing and healing ability of secondary supports like Druid, but it excels as a tertiary support, with its quickness or alacrity uptime, boon removal, and crowd control. Chronomancer's unique profession mechanic is Continuum Split, which allows you to rewind cooldowns on your high-impact, long cooldown utilities, giving you a second opportunity to cast them. Later in the video, we'll discuss how to maximize the usage of this mechanic in particular. As a Chronomancer, you also get access to Distortion on your F4, which makes you immune to damage and conditions, and scales with the number of clones you have when it's used. But to start, I'm going to show you an example fight from me playing Chronomancer, and then we'll pick apart and discuss each element of the build and how it contributes to playing the profession in the rest of the video.
Build now. Super speed. 3, 2, 1. Strip and pull now. They just build. Go to the tail. Dodge roll. Double dodge for me. Turn to burn. Turn to burn. Turn to burn.
Behind us.
There we go. Get these fucking downs. Big downs. They just training the tail. Get in the winds. Dodge roll to the winds. We got 4 behind us. Cleave on me. Look at on the sentry. We got another down.
Ground on you.
Reflect right here in front. Shift left. Give me next wins. They got downs in front. There we go. Nice. Beautiful. Spike in here. Cleave. Get the downs on us. 2 more. Dodge roll back. Regroup. Heal up. You ready? CC's now. Pulls. Give me pulls on the head. Pulls on the head. Punish and push. Give me lines if you got it. There we go. Nice. Spike here.
Punish back up in 7.
Wait, 7.
Low on
5.
stab. I don't know about the other guards.
Regroup, we're good. Just clean this down. We're pushing forward. Dodge roll forward. Give me Saints at 3.
Pulling ahead.
2. Wait for it. Hold the Saints. They're broke. Super speed. Now we're chasing. Watch it turn to burn.
Starting with our gear, we'll be using the Minstrel Prefix. Our primary role in a squad is healing and boon support, and the standing of Minstrel best contributes to this role. For our weapons, we'll use Rifle and Sword Focus. Rifle is a potent long-range support weapon with sources of healing on Rifle auto attacks, Rifle 2, and the back half of Rifle 3. The second cast also cleanses conditions and blasts Chaos Aura to allies when used in an ethereal field, which the front half creates. You'll generally want to double cast Rifle 3 every time you use it, as the detonation effect is much more powerful than letting the effect expire for boons. Rifle 4 is a stun and generates a Phantasm, which is how Chronomancer generates its quickness or alacrity. And Rifle 5 is a second modal skill, like Rifle 3. The first use of Rifle 5 gives barrier and resistance to allies at range, and the back half is a one-way, single-use portal, useful for getting allies back to tag if they've fallen out of an objective and nobody else in your squad has a portal available. In Sword Focus, the final step of your auto attack chain removes boons, your Sword 2 is an evade, Sword 3 and Focus 5 are both phantasms, and your Focus 4 is a ranged pull. On each of our weapons, we use a Sigil of Concentration and a Sigil of Energy to maintain boon uptime and provide access to additional dodges. For your runes, if you always use food, oil, and have a few concentration infusions laying around, you can use Runes of the Monk to maximize your overall healing. Otherwise, use either Runes of the Herald or Runes of Leadership to cap your boon duration. Finally, for your Relic, you can use either Relic of the Flock for additional barrier when using your heal, or Relic of Phoebe to cleanse movement impairing conditions when using your heal. For our utilities, we take Mantra of Recovery, Mantra of Concentration, Null Field, Signet of Illusions, and Gravity Well. Chronomancer mantras work similarly to Firebrand mantras, in that you cast them once to get an initial set of charges, which then regenerate over time. But unlike Firebrand, where the final charge of the mantra is stronger, on Chronomancer the initial cast of the mantra is stronger. In addition, the recharge time of individual charges is longer than the recharge time of the overall skill. This means that for Chronomancer, you want to actively use up your charges to recast the mantra. On our heal, each charge restores health to allies, restoring additional health if they're below 50%. Mantra of Concentration is your primary stability cooldown, with the initial cast of the skill also providing Aegis to allies, and subsequent charges providing a personal stun break. Nullfield is a hybrid utility skill, removing boons from enemies while cleansing conditions from allies. Signet of Illusions recharges each of your shatter skills, including Distortion, which gives you access to additional sources of stability and invulnerability if necessary. And Gravity Well is a hard crowd control ability, pulsing knockdowns and pulls on any enemies caught inside of it. Chronomancer has access to a number of other powerful utility skills, and you should ask your commander if they prefer that you run some of these skills instead of the ones that I've listed here, such as Veil, Illusion of Life, Feedback, or Well of Precognition. If they do, you'll replace Signet of Illusions with one of these utility skills that your commander wants you to use instead. For our traits, we take Chaos 2-2-3, Inspiration 2-3-2, and Chronomancer 3-3-1. Our Chaos minor traits give us sources of regeneration and improve our concentration while under the effect of regeneration, with Chaotic Persistence making up the last 15% of boon duration that we need to hit our cap. Our major trait, Illusionary Defense, adds protection to each of our shatter skills. Chaotic Transference gives regen to allies when we give ourselves Chaos Aura off of F2 or blasting our Rifle 3. And Bountiful Disillusionment provides additional boons to ourselves and to allies with each use of our shatters. The stability from Bountiful Disillusionment is personal, but it also causes our F4, Distortion, to provide stability to allies as well, giving us a second source of group stability alongside Mantra of Concentration. In Inspiration, our minor traits improve our healing and condition cleanse, and give us an additional heal anytime we summon an illusion. This is either a clone or a phantasm. Our major trait, Restorative Mantras, heals anytime we use a mantra charge, both our heal mantra and our Mantra of Concentration. Temporal Enchanter adds super speed and resistance to our glamours, which for this build is just Nullfield, but also includes Veil or Feedback if your commander asks you to use either of those instead. Finally, Restorative Illusions adds a condition cleanse and heal onto each of your shatter skills, with the size of the heal scaling slightly based on the number of clones you have when the shatter is used. In Chronomancer, our minor traits provide personal alacrity for each clone we shatter, while our major trait Improved Alacrity increases the effect, but reduces the duration, of alacrity that's applied to us. All's Well That Ends Well, which is a terrible pun, causes our wells to heal allies when they end, including Gravity Well, as well as Well of Precognition, if that's your commander's preference. As your final Grandmaster trait, I've suggested that you use Stretch Time, which shares alacrity with party members, but it's very common to switch to Seize the Moment to generate quickness instead. When I'm playing Chronomancer, I'll usually ask my party members or the commander what their preference is, as a number of professions can provide either alacrity or quickness, and Chronomancer's traits here are very flexible, letting you make up whatever gap exists in your party. Either way, the boons generated by these abilities are tied to your Phantasm summons, and you'll want to be using Rifle 4, Sword 3, and Focus 5 on cooldown to maintain their uptime as much as possible. As a tertiary support profession, Chronomancer has a mix of proactive and reactive support skills. You'll want to proactively provide things like resistance, stability, super speed, and barrier to allies that need them, but also reactively clear conditions and heal allies after they've taken some damage. Like most support professions in World vs. World, this means you won't be following a set rotation, but instead you'll be reacting to what's happening around you and making quick decisions based on what you see your group and an enemy group doing. Starting with proactive support skills, even though you get greater benefits from the first cast of your mantras, you'll usually want to channel both of them before a fight, as the initial cast time is pretty long and you want them ready to go immediately. You'll usually want to start a fight by using Rifle 5 to generate initial barrier and resistance on engage, then check your boon bar and the boon bar of your party, and if you see that stability is missing or about to expire, use your Mantra of Concentration, and then follow up with either F1 or F2 to bury your stability and resistance under other less important boons. Also make sure that you don't double cast Rifle 5 unless you specifically need the portal, as this makes the cooldown longer than letting it expire normally. You'll want to follow up this rotation anytime your group pushes. Rifle 5 if it's available, stability from either Mantra of Concentration or Distortion if your party needs it, and then cover those boons with F1 or F2. In between your group's pushes, you'll transition to playing support reactively, responding to incoming damage and conditions on your party. All of your illusion summons heal you and allied players. This includes Rifle 2, Rifle 4, Sword 3, and Focus 5. Any use of your mantras also heals, with your heal skill Mantra of Recovery being your largest single heal overall, and Gravity Well not far behind. For Condition Cleanse, any of your Shatter skills clear one condition, as well as Abstraction, the back half of Rifle 3, and Null Field as long as your allies are standing inside of it. Null Field is also one of your best boon removal sources, and you'll use this skill in particular to pivot between supporting allies and attacking enemies in the middle of a fight. You can utilize the boon removal from Null Field to give your Gravity Well, Focus 4, and Shatter F3 skills the best chance at hitting enemy players that don't have stability. Try and hold these abilities for pushes into melee specifically, where you can take advantage of the cleanses from Null Field and the heal from Gravity Well, at the same time that their boon removal and crowd control are hitting enemy players. Also for these melee pushes, remember that Distortion and Sword 2 both make you briefly invulnerable, so be ready to use these quickly if you find that an enemy group spike is hotter than you expected. Finally, let's talk about Continuum Split, one of the more complicated elements of Chronomancer's profession. When you activate your Continuum Split, your current skill cooldowns and position are saved, and when it expires, all of your cooldowns and your character are reverted to that initial point. As long as Continuum Split is active, you can cast any of your skills, and their cooldowns will be reset once the effect ends. Inside of CS, your biggest priorities are Gravity Well, Null Field, and Distortion, as these are your 3 high-impact skills with long cooldowns. Using CS with at least one clone will usually ensure that you can cast all 3, and I think it's possible to do it with no clones as well, but it's very, very hard. I wasn't able to do it when I was recording footage for this video. So to do this skill combo successfully, wait until you have at least one clone, then start by casting Null Field. Then, use your CS in the middle of the Null Field channel before it actually finishes casting. Follow up with Gravity Well in the same spot that you placed your Null Field, and as Gravity Well channels, use Distortion. With any time left over, put your other shatters on cooldown. You'll want to be careful when you're using CS to make sure that you aren't stuck in the middle of an enemy group as it ends, or sent back into your group's tail, so it may be helpful to end the effect early if you shattered a bunch of clones and wound up with an especially long Continuum Split. As a tertiary support, Chronomancer pairs well with a number of different professions. Even after a series of nerfs, it remains one of the most accessible alacrity or quickness providers in the meta, and can be shuffled around to different parties in order to provide good boon support for players who need it. The extra stability applications and cleanses can also help augment weaker primary and secondary support players, who may need some help keeping their party alive. And the utility of Rifle 5 as a single target portal skill helps players who spend a lot of time fighting in and around objectives, keeping their squad together and on tag even if they're knocked off of walls. Chronomancer's playstyle rewards quick thinking, fast reactions, and seamless pivots between different support and damage roles over the course of a fight. The utility that Chronomancer is able to provide through uncapped stealth via Veil, multi-target resurrects with Illusion of Life, or projectile denial with feedback means that a handful of Chronomancers will always be valuable in a squad, even if they aren't necessarily worth stacking per party. I hope this video, and the ones that have come before it, have been useful to you as you learn and relearn the profession after various balance patches. If there's anything in this video that wasn't clear, or that you disagreed with, why not leave a comment to let me know? And if you want to see more videos like this, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I also stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Friday, and sometimes Monday, and also sometimes over the weekend, if you'd like to watch me play some of these builds in real time and ask questions there. But until then, I've been Chef, and enjoy the rest of your day.